Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, a production of Agoracom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. Guys, if you're a believer in the future of electric vehicles, clean energy, and more importantly, the demand that's going to put for critical minerals out of Canadian small cap companies, then you're going to love this interview with Infinity Stone Ventures, trades in Canada under GEMS, GEMS, and for our friends in the US, GEMS with an F. With us is Zane Callion as a CEO. A little bit about the company. They're collecting properties across all the critical minerals required for electric vehicle batteries and powering the planet via clean energy, including lithium, graphite, nickel, the whole 9 yards. Why are they doing that? As some of you should know, by 2030, just the global demand for lithium alone is expected to surpass 2 million metric tons, more than doubling the demand forecast for 2025. And that's going even higher in 2035 because of all the jurisdictions in this world that talk about clean energy, electric vehicles by 2035. Benchmark Minerals, what have they said? Because of that, we're going to need 300 new mines to meet that 2035 battery demand. And let me tell you, GEMS has got it all, including lithium, graphite, copper, cobalt, manganese, nickel, and one of the press we talked about today, gold. They intersected gold, representing a new regional gold discovery at one of their graphite projects. So these guys can't help but keep hitting. Zane, welcome back, my friend.
No, thanks for having me, George. That was that was quite the intro. So we're pretty excited about 2023, and we've got a lot in the works. So it's a lot to do, but yeah, I think we started off the year pretty strong. We got the results back on our Rockstone graphite, and I think that was probably the initial kind of indication for how we're going to set the tone for the rest of the year. So we got the results back from the drill holes. We're going to be publishing all the data soon. Probably
Why are you guys calling it a new regional gold discovery? Because you didn't just hit some gold in George's backyard. You must have had some great numbers.
Yeah, so I guess people often say it's hard enough to hit gold when you're looking for it, especially when you're drilling, but we hit gold when we weren't even looking for it. So, and in the last meters of drilling too. So we at the end of one of our holes, we hit 2 meters across 2 meters. We got 1.7 grams per ton. And in the last meter it was even higher, and that was just below 3 grams per ton. So I think we're pretty happy with those numbers. It was kind of unfortunate we did end drilling in mineralization. We were obviously looking for graphite, and the team that was in the field didn't actually see any visible gold in the core. So now the next steps are we're going to get back out in the field. We're going to do a new program. We're probably going to do about another 700 meters of drilling on Rockstone here in very short order. First thing is going to be continuing to drill through that hole, extending the hole, and we're going to keep drilling until we're through mineralization. So I think the real opportunity there is, if you look at a lot of other deposits in the area, VMS style deposits, you look at Hemlo, discoveries, not deposits, discoveries. Hemlo was a massive discovery in that area. There's a lot of kind of similarities and indications. It's a similar kind of system. And obviously this is very early days. I'm not going to make any promises here, but we just do see that there's great potential. And if we can continue to find mineralization when we drill there, as well as drilling a couple more holes adjacent to those, I think we're going to be pretty excited to see what we get back.
And the crazy part is Rockstone was acquired as this great graphite project. And that's still there, right?
Still a great graphite project.
It's still a great graphite. But now, how big of a surprise was it to get this, these great gold results?
I think we were not expecting it. I think obviously that particular hole, we were hoping for higher grade graphite, and then when we saw the gold, we were equally as happy. So I think it'll be interesting to kind of see how it develops. We definitely want to get some more work done there and continue to drill. And the more results we get, we'll be able to keep the market updated, and we're just going to keep pushing it forward. Alongside that, we're obviously starting to look at how we could spin some of the assets out. We put some money into the ground at the Zen Warbury, and we're in the process of looking at some JV or optioning it out. So that'll be pretty exciting as well.
Well, look, that's why you guys are amassing this incredible portfolio of critical minerals projects. And then you had Justin Trudeau, Canadian Prime Minister, come out on Monday, I think, and make a statement He says, look, we got to strengthen the global electric vehicle supply chain. And I think we do it with Canadian resources. Now that's a departure. On the one hand, he loves EV, but he's never liked mining and resources, take stuff out of the ground. So what do you make of that? Is that just talk, or is that
like
real?
I think it's
a paradigm
legitimate.
shift?
I think it's legitimate. I think if you look at kind of all of the different pieces that are around EV, like all of the factories that are building, all the supply chain investment that's being done by private and public enterprise, you're looking at all the different things that the Canadian and the US government are doing, the Inflation Reduction Act, all of the critical mineral flow through incentives that the government in Canada has provided. If you look at the macroeconomic climate today, high interest rates, high inflation, we're obviously going into recession. I think that's pretty much a foregone conclusion for many people in the first half of 2023 at least. No other sectors are getting the same kind of love from government spending and private investment as the battery supply chain and anything related to energy transition, whether that be EVs or renewable energy. And if you look at all of those pieces, Canada is strategically positioned to be a leader in the production and provision of these critical minerals, especially when you look at everyone moving away from an Asian supply chain or a Chinese supply chain supplied by African minerals. It's all going to be, we have all of the necessary pieces to be a key supporter or a key piece of the EV or energy transition.
And not just, by the way, just taking the minerals out of the ground but the whole supply chain, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we have the manufacturing, high tech, all of those pieces, right? Technology, manufacturing. You see Nouveau Monde sign the deal with Tesla. Like all of those things are just indication that this is going to continue to flow. I was in Saudi Arabia last week at that Future Minerals conference, and there was a guy on the stage talking about the Nouveau Monde Tesla deal. And just how Canada is really strategically positioned to be a leader in the space. And they're out there promoting that Saudi Arabia wants to be a leader in the space as well. So I think we're in a great spot. And I think with all of that said, like you're looking at industries that are going to be able to kind of bring North America out of this recession. And how are you going to foster economic growth? And I think the governments, whether it be the Trudeau government or the US government, really do see that you're going to need to invest in future industry, and future industry really is the energy transition, and that could really help build completely new industry and new jobs, bring new money into the economy, and help grow us out of this recession coming out of 2023 into 2024.
And I want to talk about your strategy for a second, because I think a lot of us for a long decade, for the last 15 years, have known that nickel and lithium are going to be important, but a lot of people got in really early. And they've been sitting around waiting, because we have to wait for electric vehicle batteries, all that whole thing to catch up. You guys seem like, man, you hit it spot on. Like you went through a massive acquisition period there, and you're still doing it, where you picked up all the project with the minerals that we talked about in the last 15 months.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, you guys must be feeling great about you picked up these properties and you have to hold them for a long time, and you're about to go into the super cycle. How well positioned are you guys?
Well, I think we're very well positioned. As you said, I think it's not only that did we pick them up at the right time, but we also spent money. We invested in them immediately. We didn't wait. We didn't sit on them. We were putting money in the ground the day we acquired them. And I think that's what we're going to continue to do. But you hit the nail on the head. We're going into this commodity super cycle. I think it's ideal timing. Like you're looking, I was reading the Sprott kind of 10 things to look for going into 2023. And you see, like even they're projecting a continued bull market in lithium. And I think a lot of people thought lithium is a little overheated and it probably needs to pull back. But if you really look at the numbers, like the raw data, like there's going to be a ton of lithium needed going into the future. Like it really is the only battery technology that we have that's viable for at least for the next 5 to 10 years right now. That's scalable. And I think that's really how we're going to continue to grow, right? Like people always talk about EV, forget EV, look at renewable energy as alone, right? Batteries are critical for solar and wind power to make them feasible. So I think you're going to see 10 years from now, we're going to look back and say, okay, well, lithium ion batteries were great for electric vehicles, but they're equally as good for energy storage.
And on that list, copper was there. I think gold was there. Now you get gold, and I believe nickel was there. So, yeah, man, do you guys look at infinity right now and say 3 to 5 years from now, we may be one of these super companies because we've got a fantastic projects, all JV-able, all partnershipable. And I mean, you
Yeah,
guys
like
are
I think a
stronger than
lot.
most people even understand.
Yeah, I think a lot of investors, right? They don't, maybe they don't want to invest in 6 companies that are
Right.
individually and try and do all the research and figure out all these projects and get all this diversified exposure to battery metals. The way that we see it is, okay, you invest in Infinity Stone, you're going to have the opportunity as we JV these projects out to be able to get exposure to new entities, right? You're going to be a shareholder of Infinity Stones, but once we dividend out stock in future JV opportunities or option out deals, our intention is to dividend out those shares to the shareholders as well, right? So you're going to be able to get a share in this new entity, and that'll give you exposure to that continued exposure to that asset. And then we're going to continue to bring more assets into the company and spin them out. So it's kind of going to be this continued cycle where you're going to be able to continue to get exposure to new battery metals projects as we bring them in and then spin them out.
What kind of attention are you guys getting from the pool of companies that you would, I know you can't name anybody, that the kind of companies that you would expect you'd want to partner with in the future or JV with? Are you guys now on the radar of a lot of these companies saying,
well,
hey,
I think I think the market's just starting to heat up. I think obviously there's a lot more interest in the space. So you have a lot of people talking about it. I think we're just starting to have those conversations with other public vehicles, other shells, people who would want to leverage these assets and build in them and invest in them. And right. And that's great for us because we don't have to raise a bunch of money and then deploy it and spend it on these projects. We've already made initial investments, proven that they're worth further investment. Now we can go partner with other people who can then take them to the next level, while still retaining upside and allowing shareholders to still retain upside.
Is that why you guys went to Riyadh? That's a great segue into, you mentioned just for a second earlier, but let's do a little deeper dive. You went to the Future Minerals Forum in Riyadh. Why'd you go there? Who was there? And what kind of early result? I know it's not the end all be all, it's your first time there, but what kind of result came out of that for you and the shareholders?
Yeah, so it was a great conference. Very impressed with kind of the obviously the organizing, but just the turnout and the overall sentiment. I think we're definitely in the right place at the right time. Robert Friedland was the keynote speaker, pounding the table on copper as he often does, but just also pounding the table on how the energy revolution and the energy transition is going to need these critical minerals. And there's a massive opportunity for countries like Canada, but also countries like Saudi Arabia, where we're also exploring potential opportunities and projects to really be at the forefront of developing this. Africa has obviously been a big focus for Friedland over the past 35 years, and that's where he sees a lot of upside too. But I think we're actively exploring there too. We're looking at projects in DRC, etc. Like these are very rich, mineral rich countries. Very tough to operate in some respect, but at the same time, the upside and the value is there. So we're going to continue to broaden our horizons and continue to create shareholder value, which is really our goal.
Devil's advocate, Zane. I mean, one thing that a lot of us have loved is the fact that all your projects are in the friendliest mining jurisdiction in the world, right here in Canada, right?
Yeah.
Why the departure into looking for lithium in Central Africa, for example? And I know obviously there's a lot of potential there, but does that take you out of your specialty zone, or is it somewhere you say, no, George, we can handle that too?
I think like obviously we're very happy to operate in Canada, and we're going to continue to move these projects forward and also continue to look at new projects in Canada as well. But what I would add to that is just say that Africa is a very interesting, if we can get the right projects and operate with the right operators in Africa, there's a lot of potential upside. You're talking about very high grade deposits. The way that Friedland puts it is some of the greenest mining in the world, right? You're moving, it's the least disruptive. You're moving the least amount of rock and getting the highest grade. So you're moving the least amount of earth. And I think the way he positions it, and I do believe this to some respect, that you probably will see this in the future, that people will look at the carbon footprint of mining, right? So you produce X amount of tons of lithium. What was the carbon footprint to produce that ton of lithium, right? And I think that's going to be in the future when you look at kind of Africa and other jurisdictions abroad, they have much higher grade than a lot of other places in the world. Now, Canada is obviously a very safe place to operate, very cheap to operate, and arguably probably more ESG in a lot of respects when it comes to social and governance. So it's kind of a balance, but at the same time, I think you're definitely going to see this kind of more holistic look as to how we're getting these minerals out of the ground and what they're going into.
Last press release I want, and by the way, while everyone else started checking out in mid-December, you guys putting out news out December 5th, December 13th, December 20th, January 5th. Man, you guys don't stop, which is amazing. But the one other press we want to talk about is that your Buddha lithium project. You guys put out news on December 13th, where you intersected more pegmatite. How good? We don't have to go through the scientific, numbers, but how happy are you with the results that came out of
Yeah,
Buddha?
like I think what we got is that we're in the right mineralization. We're definitely we're pretty happy with what we're seeing on the project. I think there's the lithium mineralization is elevated, so that's promising. I think we do need to do a little bit more work as to why our proximity to kind of the source of the system, and then how we adjust our drill targets based upon that. So overall, we're pretty happy with the initial results. I think we could be happier, but we're going to continue to drill, and I think we'll get great results beyond that.
Man, congratulations on keep moving the ball forward. I love the sense of urgency your team has, knowing that the EV/renewable/battery metal space is moving fast now. And the pace that you guys have been moving at has been great. Here we are just after mid-January. I have no doubt I'm going to have you back in the next 2-3 weeks, talk about results from something. But maybe last message to you, only because it's the first message, it's the first interview of the new year. Last message from you to your shareholders as to, how you see the totality of 2023 for you guys.
Yeah, no, I think we're super excited. We got a lot on the go, a lot of catalysts for growth in the first half of this year. We're going to continue to push forward on our existing projects. We're going to look at new projects. We're going to start spinning out some of these assets. We just want to continue to build shareholder value. As we said, we're in a super cycle here. We're going into a pretty big commodity market. I think we're in the right place at the right time. We want to start developing these assets, and really just kind of continue executing the way we have been.
Man, I usually start off our interviews with the story about Thanos collecting all the gems. I didn't do it this time, but
look, yeah, we have a.
Look at that.
Yeah.
The one time I don't bring it up is the one time I now have you have the hand.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, in the next 2-3 years, you're going to be holding on.
We're going to need two of them. Yeah. We're going to need two of them. Yeah.
Well, man, well done, buddy. And look, I'm a shareholder too at the same time. So I'm excited about what you guys are doing, and congratulations to you, the team. Can't wait to have you back sometime next 2-3 weeks, my friend.
Great. Well, appreciate it, George. Thank you.
To everybody at home, you've been watching or you've been listening to my podcast on Spotify, Google, Apple, your favorite podcast platform. To Zane Callan, he's CEO at Infinity Stone Ventures, trades in Canada under GEMS. Got to love that stock symbol. And for our friends in the US under GEMS F, and even in Frankfurt for our European friends under B2 I0. To do your due diligence, if you just heard about the company, get to the profile page on Agoracom, because there's so much going on with Infinity Stone. You can't absorb it all in one interview, but we've got it all neatly laid out for you in a real easy way to understand. Do due diligence, then head over to the website. If you believe in the future of electric vehicles, battery metals, renewable energy, and Canada's role in all of that, then you got to do your due diligence on GEMS. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time. Hey guys, this video is over, but don't forget to help your company by liking it and then leaving a comment below. And then don't forget to help yourself by subscribing to our channel so you don't ever miss another great Agoracom small cap video.